Hi, it's Nicole, and today I'll be showing a sketchbook tour of my trip to Cebu. So my trip to Cebu was a school trip to finish one of my vacation modules, and I decided to purchase a journal which I used during the trip. I'm happy I did because I was a bit shy to use it, but I did it. And yeah, so I'll just be doing a little tour. I didn't draw as much as I would like because we were moving from place to place really quickly. I didn't have a lot of time to draw on the spot, so some of it were from pictures that I took. Nonetheless, yeah, I really enjoyed the process of really internalizing every experience while I was drawing. I feel like simply taking a photo, sometimes it's not really etched in my mind, but by taking notes, doing a bit of journaling from each location, I feel like I really got a lot more in-depth experience. So yeah, I'll just be showing you all of the drawings that I did. Okay, so starting with the first page, the map drawing on the first page was taken from one of the in-flight magazines. They had a drawing, or they had a picture of the world map, so I just kind of roughly sketched from that magazine. And then because I thought it was a bit plain, I painted over it in watercolor, and I also added the word Singapore, Davao, because it was a transit flight, so we had to go from Singapore to Davao, then to Cebu. So yeah. And this second picture was just a drawing of multiple flowers while I was in transit. I have a thing for flowers, so I guess I did this to kind of overcome the boredom and headache that I got from the flight. And the next page is when I finally landed in Cebu, and so the first meal in Cebu was pizza. And as you can see in the little caption, I would say, it says first meal in Cebu is pizza. Great. It sounds so sarcastic because it probably was. So I wrote unfamiliar environment, missing home. I think the first day I was still not used to my surroundings, and I was getting a little homesick already. So I got my pizza and I was waiting for my friends Eddie and Ian before we all started eating together. And after the meal we got mango shake, and it was so good. It was thick and creamy, like I wrote here, and I wrote we'll be getting more mango shakes this trip, which I definitely did. I think it was almost one every day. So yeah, and below that was just some sketches of the women in their dance costumes when we visited the San Diego Dance Arts Club. So I'll try and find a picture or a video of us learning to dance. It was a really fun experience, and yeah, the costumes were really elaborate, really nice, and the dance moves were really cool. And I'm glad that we went there. And in the next page, oh yeah, there were a lot of strays in Cebu, I realized, and most of the cats, there were even dogs, but most of the cats looked really malnourished. But anyway, there was a really tiny kitten when we were walking out of the San Diego Dance Arts Club. There was this little kitten, and I just decided to take a picture and draw the little kitty, and it was really cute because it reminded me of a dream that I had of a little kitten. So and on day 2, we were at the hotel lobby, and there was this really interesting plant just right in front of me, so I decided to sketch it while waiting for everyone to come. And again, I have a sarcastic comment by the side. Meet at 8:30 a.m. they said. Don't be late, they said. But yeah, I'm glad I got to draw this while waiting for people to come. And after that, I wrote breakfast buffet was nice. Going to eat hard-boiled eggs and fruits for breakfast tomorrow. Okay, so I think, okay, we have breakfast buffet at the hotel, and on the first day I really went all out. I ate the pancake, I ate the French toast, I had the eggs, the sunny side up. I just took a lot of things, but after the first day, that's when I really kind of filtered out what I wanted and what I didn't want. So I guess I identified hard-boiled eggs and fruits as my go-to for the subsequent days. And yeah, this plant was on the table at the lobby. Next page, same thing, rushing, rushed. So I was drawing and I decided to start on another drawing, and then it was a bit rushed because people started to flow in and we had to head off to our destination, which was the Taoist temple, the Cebu Taoist temple. And I have no idea what these Chinese words mean. Still don't know. I should find out. If you know, you can let me know. Thank you. And so yeah, this is a really quick sketch of a dragon. Like, I remember I was just standing there really messily trying to finish this little sketch while everyone was moving on to the next location within the Taoist temple. So yeah, it was very quiet. I remember it being incredibly peaceful, and it started to drizzle a bit, but it wasn't so bad, so it was nice. Following the Taoist temple, we went to Terrazas de Flores, Botanical Gardens. And I wrote, the view was magnificent because the botanical garden was on a mountain. I'll insert pictures of the view. It was really amazing, and it's something you'll never see in Singapore, never. So yeah, it was nice just having that peace and quiet to admire nature. And yeah, I drew a few flowers which I managed to get up and personal with, you know. I got some names. There was like the hibiscus rosa sinensis. I don't even know. Nonetheless, I really enjoyed being surrounded by the flowers. So basically, this was just a messy page of all the flowers that I saw. Okay, not all, because there were a lot. There were a lot of species of flowers there. So while I was drawing this one, the sun was shining on my back. It was hot, and this flower was difficult to draw. Yes it was. And my teacher, Ms. Rosalind, took a picture of me while I was drawing. So yeah, I wrote, she's so cute, and I'm very thankful that she's a teacher on this trip. The Botanical Gardens, there was a little cafe, and they gave free sandwiches. And I wrote, ate some free sandwiches that may have been harmful. The sauce was sour, and I didn't realize until someone asked me and told me. So I remember I was sitting down enjoying the free sandwich. It's free. I was eating it. Then my teacher and a friend at the other table, they were curious as to why I was eating so fast. Like, their sandwiches, I could clearly see, were like nearly untouched, but I was already on my last piece, like my last bite. And they told me, isn't the sauce sour? And I was like, actually yes. So yeah, I think it was a psychological thing. I don't know if it really was sour or if it just started to taste sour because they told me, but I mean, I'm still alive, and I don't think it was that bad. So yeah, it was interesting. Yeah, I think I was writing this little paragraph as we were in the little van. Oh my, there were like 14 people squeezed into that van, and it was quite torturous, but not complaining because the driver was amazing. Imagine squeezing into tiny lanes, and there was this super steep slope, but he still managed to like rev the engine and zoom up. It was pretty interesting. And yeah, I wrote feeling sick because I think I have motion sickness. Yeah, it wasn't that bad, but I felt it. And on the next page, it's the beautiful mountain view, which I attempted to draw and subsequently paint, because I feel like paint saves a lot of pictures, for me at least. So yeah, this was my attempt at the breathtaking view. And on the next page, oh yes, there were like 7 or 8 stray dogs just chilling by the benches, so I just tried to draw one, but we were moving too quickly. Yes, while we were trekking down the mountain. And lunchtime, I can't remember where exactly we had lunch, but I remember the restaurant being called Tandoori or something. It was an Indian restaurant, and I got classic hummus, and it was probably the best hummus I've ever had in my life. Not that I've had many, but this was really, really good. It's the same day as the Botanical Gardens. We went to the Coca-Cola factory visit. Yeah, it was very loud, but it was an interesting experience. On the next page, okay, I really can't remember what this was called, but I remember it being near the Yup San Diego Ancestral House. Yes, this was near that, and it was quite rushed because we had to move on to the Yup San Diego Ancestral House, but yeah, this was my attempt at the sculpture, the huge sculpture that was there. It's not even a quarter of the entire sculpture, but this was what I got from where I was standing. And on the next page, yes, yup, San Diego Ancestral House, and the thing that I drew was just an antique telephone which was there. I just thought it was really nice. It's really pretty, and it was just small. I could go close and really inspect it, so that's what I drew. And on the next day, I believe, yes, I think it's the next day, we went to the Lapu-Lapu Shrine, where we got to see the Lapu-Lapu statue, I guess. Yeah, again, it was a bit rushed, and I don't know why I make masculine structures look so cute and cartoony, but this was my attempt at drawing the Lapu-Lapu shrine statue. And I remember there were so many banners, so many garlands of yellow, blue, and green flags. And I wrote very hot day, very, very hot day. So yeah, actually the whole trip was pretty warm. And on the next page, we went to visit the Alegre Guitars, and I think it was really interesting because we got to see, okay, we didn't get to see them actually make the guitars, but they did have a wall showing like the different wood materials that you can use for the guitar manufacturing process, which is all handmade. It's no machines. It's really them carving and cutting and just gluing the guitar together. And there was actually a double bass at the guitar store too, which brought back some of my CCA memories when I was in secondary school. And this next page was just a view from the bus. Yeah, I think the main thing I wanted to capture was this pole with all the lines, like, what's it called, telephone lines? I'm not very sure what it's called, but I just really wanted to capture that, so that's this page. Oh yes, another thing to mention was the walls, this colorful yellow, orange, green, blue wall. It was lining almost the whole of Lapu-Lapu City. Yeah, Lapu-Lapu City had these colorful walls almost throughout the city, so I thought it was quite cool. On the next page, I believe this is, yes, on the same day, we went to University of San Carlos, where we got to kind of be there during the rehearsal of the major event, which would be on the following day. So there were 3 girls dressed up in really, really elaborate, intricate dresses. So it was big. There was this blue one. I think I have a video. Blue dress with wings, 3 wings, like cascading out of her back, and it was really nice. And there was one red one, and there was one silver and black one, and I thought they were really pretty. I wrote extravagant outfits and amazing dance moves. Oh yes, because there was a lot of performing and singing, and just Filipinos are so talented in that area. And on the next page, I'm not really proud of this page. I think it was very rushed, and I did not have the right colors to execute this painting or drawing, but it was at the dinner, the welcome dinner, which the USC students held for us. And it was a super long table on 2 sides, and then there was a stage. Actually, the middle section would be like the whole stage, and it was really, really lovely. There were so many performances, and it was a very interesting experience. The choir was amazing. They were singing a few The Greatest Showman songs, and I was blown away. It was really good. And yeah, the dinner was lovely. I'm just glad there were some vegetarian options, so I didn't starve. It's good, it's good. Yeah, so it was really fun. And the girl say, oh my gosh, the girl sitting next to me, like one of the, I guess like a buddy, she was just talking to me, Ian, and Eddie, and she was so hospitable. She was so nice. And on this next page, it is Oh yes, oh yes. So on the next day, we had to wake up at around 4:30 a.m. 4:45 a.m., 5 a.m., depending on how long you take to get ready. But basically, we had this, I'd say the highlight of our trip, the main reason why we went to Cebu, it's for a congress at the University of San Carlos. So it was a congress. Basically, it's about the digital transformation of the hospitality and tourism industry. So we had to be there to conduct some workshops. So yeah, it was exciting, it was fun, but we had to wake up at 5 a.m. and to stay awake, I got up and tried to do a quick sketch of the view from our hotel room. So while my friend was getting ready in the toilet, I was just by the window kind of sketching this. Yeah, it was a really nice view because you could see some mountains in the distance, which was really nice. And on the, oh yes, I wrote it down. On the next page it says the digital transformation of hospitality industry from tradition to innovation. It's a very long name for the event, but it was nice. And I remember the classrooms. It's very old school, not what I expected a university to be. The chairs and tables were like this basically, and there would be like 30 seats and just a simple whiteboard and a little podium or stage in front of the classroom, which I thought was really nice. It was interesting for sure. I wrote workshop day, exciting stuff, feeling unsure about what we're showing at first, but we were encouraged after the morale boosting support from our teachers in charge. And some students didn't seem interested, but the ones who did were really sweet. It was a great experience and I'm glad things went well. Thankful for the opportunity, and thankfully our efforts paid off and we got to eat good Indian food for dinner. Oh yes, the Indian food was really good. Below that, Fort San Pedro. We went to Fort San Pedro on the next day, where it was really nice. We got to see this boat. I didn't even know it was a boat. I thought it was a bench because it was so thin and narrow. But yeah, apparently they used that to cross the river from the old days, which was quite shocking. And we also got to see some cannons. Like over here I put pew pew pew. Yeah. On the next page, I attempted drawing one of the ship models that they had at the museum at the Fort San Pedro. So yeah, it's just a little small one here. And there were a lot of frangipanis, so I just drew one which was on the ground. I also looked up and tried to draw like a silhouette of the frangipani tree. You can't even tell it's a frangipani tree, but I tried. Below that is just the front of the fort. Yeah, it's not the best drawing, but I think it was rushed because we had to go on board the bus shortly after. But yeah, I still think this page looks quite complete. And on the next page, I wrote crazy hot day because it was, and walked around the fort. People saw my drawings and they were really nice and encouraging. Thank you. And yeah, I wrote I was feeling blessed. And so after that we went to a mall. I believe yes, SM Seaside Mall, where we had lunch. And me, Ian, and Eddie, we had lunch at Tokyo. And I just sat there after lunch drawing and painting. No, I didn't paint, but I drew this, which I'm actually really happy with. It was a painting that was at Fort San Pedro. Oh yes, I should mention all my drawings on the field, out in the field. I sound so professional. Okay, all the drawings out in the field, they were only in pen. I only painted in the color where I got back to the hotel because it would be way too troublesome to, and just way too time consuming also, to bring out my paint and actually paint on the go. So all the painting part was done in the hotel. Then next page, it was also another picture from Fort San Pedro. And on the next page, it's the Magellan's Cross. I just captured this Magellan's Cross because yeah, it's a symbol of my faith and God's amazing love and grace, and how Jesus Christ died for our sins. And it was nice just looking up and admiring the wall above. I'll insert a picture. Yeah, it was really nice. The Basilica del Stonino was very extravagant and elaborate. I wrote it there. And after that, we went to SM Seaside Mall, which had a rooftop garden and lovely view. So we took some videos. This is coming to the end of my little journal. This is the last page. We visited the SOS Children's Village, Cebu. It's an orphanage for children ranging from 1 year old to maybe even 15, 16. They were so happy when we got there already, and so cute. They were dancing on stage to welcome us, and I really loved the experience because we went there with no fixed agenda. We went there just to play with them, just to interact with them. We didn't even prepare a performance. I mean, other groups, they did because they performed for the university, but I was part of the workshop, so I didn't practice the dance. But just going up on stage to spontaneously dance with the kids and the friends, it was really nice. There are some really amazing classmates that I have, and I just thought it was really lovely seeing them talk to the children. And the children were so cute too. When it came to giving out the snacks and toys, they would just come up to you and like, ate, ate, which is like, I guess, older sister or sister. Then you just give the snack to them, and then they would be like, thank you, and then like run off elsewhere to look for more snacks. And it was so fulfilling. And I learned a lot from there. I learned to just enjoy life's simple pleasures, which I wrote here. So yes, on this page there was a goose at the compound. There was one guy who was from China, and he said to a goose, "Want to come to my dinner table?" I thought it was so smart, so I just wrote it down. I thought, yeah, it was quite funny. But I just can't stop. I don't think I have enough words or vocabulary to really express the experience in the children's orphanage, because I really thought it was lovely to see the children. Yeah, I'm going to have to spend more time to really reflect on that whole experience. So yeah, and below the goose there's a picture at the hotel lobby. It was a painting at the hotel lobby. It was pretty big, so I took a picture of it, and upon coming back from the trip, then I painted the painting. So yes, that concludes this little sketchbook tour. I'll be going to Thailand soon, so I'm hoping to fill out more of this journal, which I'm really looking forward to. But anyway, that's the end of this tour through my sketchbook, and I hope you enjoyed just looking back on my Cebu trip with me. Yeah, it went by so fast, and I definitely have a lot of reflection to do. Yeah, so that's all for this video. God bless.